Hey YouTube, what is up? Brian Do Work back with another deck profile. Just played this deck, Ophani Loop, in the most recent regional hosted by Top Cut, which I would like to say was well ran. There was barely time in between rounds, except for when players would drop or something. But the tournament was just really, it was ran really smoothly. In an 8-round tournament, we got out in 9 hours, so I can't really say be upset about that. So thank you to Top Cut. You guys did a fantastic job. Okay, so back to the deck. I chose to play Ophani Loop during the regional. The reason I chose to play Ophani Loop specifically was it just plays similar to my play style, which is just more of a control. But at the same time, the aggressiveness of the deck, it's like swinging for 2 checks with Ophani doesn't ever feel bad. It live or die, because if it lives, you're swinging for another 2 checks the following turn. If it dies, it potentially procs off your tamers, which you'll see. So we'll just start with the profile. I'm sure you guys have seen enough loops to kind of figure out know how they work, but I will explain as I'm going through. For the Digitama, I opted to use 1 Naro and 4 Demimera. A lot of times Ophani is going to be dying either by my effects or by just swinging in general. So to me, Demimero was just a good egg, draw 1, discard. Whereas Nairo, there are times, because one of the Achilles heels or the weaknesses of the deck, I would say, is its ability to deck out. So there are times where I couldn't attack because my egg was Nairomon. Being forced to draw will just again make you lose the deck out game a lot faster. This egg specifically was one of the reasons why I think I lost because I couldn't attack. So I might consider dropping it for a Yaman, which I'll be like right there. But yeah, Yaman, it just, in my opinion, gives it a 1k boost, which is potentially really important, especially with Ophani. Swinging in for 13 for 2 checks versus 12, you're going to survive a lot more. And after playing it more, Tisbe and I discussed, like, yeah, maybe this is not the correct egg, or maybe even Demimera, just because, again, the deck out is one of your biggest weaknesses for the deck. So you need to kind of be careful, not always proccing Mako effects unless you really have to. But, that's also one of the greatest things about the deck, because you draw so much or you search so much and then you trash the rest. You really fill up the trash, and then you get to really get good value with Flamehouse early and stuff like that. Okay, we'll move on to the level 3s, the rookies. We got 2 Psychmon. Psychmon is just really important right now for this meta. It stops Avenged Kid, it stops Stingmon, it stops what's his name? Death X. Those are just the big 3 I can think off the top of my head where I actually use to counterplay or something like that. So 2 Psychmon is actually, I think, enough, just because you have access to Calling, Flame Hellscythe, Ophani, just to bring back Digimon that you may need. The Floodgates, as long as he's at least chilling in your trash, you're chilling. And then the other rookies will be 4 Gazi. Gazi's just way too important right now, especially with a lot of decks running the 4 memory boosts. Specifically, I'm thinking of just Grandis, where Grandis is running 4 memory boosts. Hammer Spark, Ice Wall, Insecurity. Now, what's it called? X Antibody Insecurity. Memory blockers are more important than ever. So definitely had to run a purple base, in my opinion, just because the Floodgates are just too important for the current meta. All right, next we got the level 4s, which is pretty simple. We got 4 Gatos. Gato is just one of the most important cards, gets you extremely good value. Being able to basically kill your Ophani, get this to research for more cards, and then use that 1-cost Evo to just basically go back into a new Ophani with just 1 memory, pushing your opponent to potentially 4 or 3 if you have the Kari. So just really, really good card. I've liked it since Mass Day, so the fact that someone found other applications for it made me want to play and use it in different other ways too. We got then 2 more Black Gatomon. Card is crazy, it procs off of Mako, the Tamer, and gaining you a memory. It has Rush. It's basically Bushi for game for this deck, with memory blockers. With memory boost. you basically can play this from your hand as another attack, like potentially, like, and your opponent might not see it. You know, they just see that you have the memory boost, which is pretty typical in this format. So they might not see that you're gonna, you know, pop memory boost and go Black Auto for game. And then one of my personal favorite cards, and actually won me a lot of games, is Kaiser Leomon. Kaiser Leomon specifically over Loey, because there's moments where you can Digivolve on top of Black Auto, giving it retail and swinging over something. Kaiser Leo just going for game over your Makos is just also, again, a big reason why I won some of my games. Only need the one of, because again, in trash you can really recur it with a lot with calling and Ophani if you really needed to, but usually you probably won't. But yeah, he's just another target for Flame Hell Scythe as well, but like again, you probably won't ever get him back. Just keep him in your trash for the calling turn, and then it's GG usually. Next we got the level 5s. We got just my personal favorite, well, Angelwoman. Turning your Ophani into a double security breaker, it just makes sense. The card is crazy. Out of security, out of off of Flame Hell Scythe, you can literally stop your opponent's aggression and set up yourself for like a crazy turn or crazy comeback turn. And that's personally one of my favorite things about the deck. You're not truly ever dead until you're dead, because you have so many ways to heal. Sometimes dropping it on play from hand, and then going up the next turn with just Angelwoman X into Ophani will do the trick if you can't find like the Gatos. And also, like, if they kill it, it's like it's okay, because like, again, you're setting up your trash for potentially they could hit a Flame Hell Scythe in security, and then you're in a way better position. Then the most wonderful Angelwoman X on Digivolve, she's gonna give any Digimon -1 security, which I use multiple times. Very good for D Brigade especially. You know, because they're never going to get plus security, and they really want to push their Digimon or their D Brigades into their trash. And yeah, this card can be really detrimental to their game. 8k body when she's over an Angelwoman. And the play I usually do is I would set that up, or at least set this up with a rookie in raising. And then I would come up, they would put me at 1s. I'm like, sure, I'll just go this to 0. And times you could swing 8k for 2 checks. It's probably living, depending on the matchup. Like, you kind of have to, you know, for D Brigade, I did this play probably more than once. So this was just a really good setup. I'm not saying D Brigade's not used to getting the aggression back, but usually they're not. So when you can get 2 checks, 8k, and then there's a suspended 8k they literally can't deal with. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a good play, really good play. Next are 2 Neo Devimons. This card actually won me a game. Very, like, just, I think this is due to ignorance, if anything. Just because, like, my opponent knew I had it, but they know only the main effect of Neo Devi, which is that whenever he's on the field, only on opponent's turn for both his inheritable and his actual main effect. But whenever a player plays a tamer, I'm going to gain memory. So memory blockers can turn this ability off. However, people are always just very concerned, from my opinion, of the main effect, which is gaining 3 memory whenever you play a tamer. This inheritable is actually insane. The inheritable, which says opponent's turn, when your opponent's tamer becomes suspended, gain a memory. So this literally won me a game against Grandis. Again, my opponent might have been just not familiar with the card. I tried to tell him, like, hey, yeah, I have Neo Devi underneath. Like, I mean, I didn't say, like, yo, like, read his inheritable, but I'm like, this is my current stack. Just let me know if you need to know any of the abilities, kind of thing. And he said, no, we're good. And I was like, okay. So he raised his Weedmon. He was only at 3 memory. Digivolved into Okuomon. And then he didn't have everything, so he suspended his Mimi while this was in the inheritable. So he suspended his Mimi thinking he's just going to go for another draw, see if he can go grab the Akuamon X, right? He ended up, not. He pushed turn by suspending his Mimi, and he couldn't even, like, literally Digivolve over his egg. So it was just, he hatched an egg and passed turn, and I was just like, and then I just swung for game because, like, you know, that's just how it ended. And then next we got the level 6s, just 4 Ophani. basically main boss monster you want to see just because of its abilities to basically keep something on board the whole game, which is a big issue since most removal options will be giving you a lot of memory and pushing turn. So if they don't have a good like a D-Digivolve answer or like a Chaos Degrade or a bounce effect, then they're going to give you way too much value with Ophani. And what I find is that people are adapting to that. So you're going to see a lot more options where it doesn't kill or doesn't delete the Ophani. So you'll see that a lot of times you're going to want to aggress yourself, and that's why calling is such a big card for the deck. Next, we got the one-ofs, level 6s. I got one Maste. Definitely, there's just some crazy plays you can do with Maste when your tamers are set up. And you can go for like a pretty high amount of checks. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just her alone, you can go for 4 checks if you have just the Angelwoman. So Angelwoman, Digivolving will cost 4. However, if you have the Meku, you can suspend when you bring back Black Gato, which is a black and yellow, right? Or sorry, purple yellow. So then you'll be at 0 memory. You would already burn a life from the Master effect. She would swing for 2 checks, and then this would go for 4. So if your opponent's sitting at 3 life, you're actually you're threatening game with just an Angelwoman and a Black Auto and raising and a Master in hand, and giving you 3/4 memory depending on your tamer count. So it's actually it's pretty nasty. Being at 3 life is really dangerous against this deck. So it's just a powerful setup. And then we have the Avenge Kid to help with the deck out. This deck also runs a lot of options, not like an obscene amount like we're like in Secon, but it does run a high amount of security bombs. Which think about the format. Like you need it, right? If your security isn't scary, people are going to OTK you without any fear. And that confidence, the confidence to swing, is sometimes the most important thing. Because some people are so afraid of security that they won't attack. And sometimes there's literally nothing in there. But that fear, knowing that this deck runs a high amount of options, is really important. And yes, you don't depend on it, but it does help. Okay, next is Juno. So a lot of different lists, they run either like a Sakuya, an extra Maste. I opted to run Juno just because, again, I felt this deck's weakness was its deck out. Putting in the Juno, Avenge Kid, and Calling Loop, it does help. I would say that I'm not sure if it was, I need to test it a little more. There are moments where I just used Juno because the fact that she had Retal, Grandis couldn't swing over it, or Black or Gray would have to basically remove some sources if it wanted to swing over it. But it's, again, the fact that you can get back a card, any Digimon, I thought it was pretty good still, just to Evo and grab something from your trash and milling to potentially set up more cards. Getting Death X, getting Kaiser Leo, or just getting a missing piece, it helps. And honestly, I never felt bad digivolving into it to get something. And even the trashing effect really, I think, just helped accelerate the trash, setting up the trash. Okay, and lastly, for the Digimon, we got Death X. Obviously, the card is just really kind of busted right now against armors or against D Brigade is a big one. Potentially Melga if they don't go up all the way, which, usually they will. But in that case, you have answers with options, hopefully. But Death X is really good on boards where they're trying to kill you by going just wide. You've seen it before where they're just trying to set up enough where they can at least get 2 swings and then they'll win. But Death X says no to that, especially with a high tamer count with some of the decks like Alphamon, there's just like War Gray. There's just a lot of decks that have high tamer count. Ophani is in general, so very good card, very good card. Just be careful, don't play it while you have Psychomon on the board. Well, you can't, so never mind. For the tamers, I went with 3 Makos. 3 Makos just because, again, I like the trashing effect. The purple for the Kaiser Leo, so over the 3 analogs, and I I think that was fine. I remember there was times when I was like, oh, I wish this was a Mako, like the analog, so I could go for game or whatever. But it's just I think Mako at 3 was still correct. Then we got 2 analogs, which these again they just help when you're swinging with your Ophani after raising it or something like that. Then killing it to gain the memory, hatch an egg, get the rookie back. Like it's just there's a lot of cool setups you can do. Analogs is still a very good card. Another reason why I opted to go 3-2 was the fact that Mako is a not mandatory effect, whereas analog is. So late game, you're low on deck already. You swing into an analog, GG. Right? You're gonna lose 3 cards no matter what. Mako, you may. So you don't have to lose 3 cards and deck out. So that's another reason why Mako just made more sense to run more of over the analog, even though they kind of do the same thing. And then 2 of the Kari. Card is really great. It keeps your turn when you're playing Ophani. Evo gives you free memory when you're digivolving over an Angelwoman. So you basically can make the 1-cost Evo for her for free. And yeah, just a really good card. I was running it at 3, but then I cut 1 for a Neo Devi, and I'm okay with that. I didn't think there's a lot of games where I didn't even need the memory tamer, but it does definitely help. So I don't know. If there was a change to add a third one, like maybe, but especially just to have another yellow resource, that could be something to consider. But for the deck I read, I mean, I got 19th is not the best, but I mean, it works, But if you're more of a I like 3 tamers kind of thing, then keep your 3 tamers. That's fine. All right. Next, I have the options. We got for the best removal right now, Chaos Degrade. Really no answer to it except for Kongu. Let me see. Oh, Kari actually was a big thing. When I was playing the Sekon matchup, pushing turn, giving him an extra memory or so, it was a big thing. So I was like, oh, maybe Kari was a really, something I didn't consider. But with how Chaos Degrade, Kari can give your opponent some extra memory, which, I mean, it against Sekon, I think every memory counts. Flame Hell Scythe for them, okay? Just really important for bringing back the Gatos or bringing back the Angelwomans and just, yeah, again, Flame Hell Scythe and Security saved me a few games just because, yeah, the card's amazing. Like, it does a little way too much. Okay? And then we got 2 Calling of Darkness. Just a really, really good card. The play that I honestly did the most was just calling Ophani, bringing back Kaiser with the calling effect, right? So bringing back Kaiser Leo with the calling effect, and maybe like a Death X or or something, or a rookie, because getting the rookie and Kaiser combo would actually, when you proc the analog, guarantees you a rookie in raising, and then if you have a Mako. And then you can kind of do similar to the mass they play, whereas you're swinging with Ophani, with Angelwoman underneath, right? So that's 2 checks. And say you're at 3 memory, it just your start of your turn or whatever. That's 2 checks. You calling go down to 2. Proc analog boy to hatch. Then gaining that memory, you'll have the Mako, so you can potentially get back Black Auto for another swing, so that'd be 3. And the Kaiser would be 4 if you wanted to go. Again, this deck just has a lot of ways to go for 4 damage. And so getting your opponent to that sweet spot at 3, they could feel kind of safe, but at the same time, you're like, oh, okay, you're definitely in kill range, in 1-turn kill range. And yeah, and you can get those early pokes those pokes early with some of the rookies by just cycling through, getting the Demi Mara draws. I find myself hard casting rookies all the time just to pass turn, and if you don't need the floodgate for the matchup, you just kind of swing for it. Especially with Psychmon being a 3K, sometimes it lives, and if it's on the board, I mean, I'm not trying to play Death X anyway, so it's fine to just swing with, and yeah. Oh, okay, and then we got 2 cards left. We got Purple Mem Boost and Reinforcement Memory Boost. So as you guys see, there's no This card to me represents like early game, grabbing me a rookie or grabbing me the bottom tier that I need. So either like the 3, 4, and now with Neo Devi added, like you can actually get a level from, I mean, a Digimon from every level. So I think Purple Memory Boost was a great card. It operates like win rate in a sense where, except this card can actually be used early, whereas win rate it's only to win you the game. Which yes, win rate's very important. So something my list not running it. It just shows that you can definitely win without win rate. However, looking back, I would probably put one a win rate. I'm just not sure where I would fit it at this current time. Reinforcement out of security is probably one of the best feelings because you're like, oh, cool, I get 3 memory whenever I want. Playing it with having Akari on board, even if you're not, and they have their memory setter, then you can just push them back to their 3 memory, getting a heal, and then setting yourself up for a game-winning turn with the amount of memory you're gonna get from this card. So yeah, 2 cards that I really did like. But I guess if of the 2, I would cut the reinforcement for win rate at this time because but I'm not sure. I would have to play test it more. It's just reinforcement felt like a very defensive card, right? And not that it's a bad thing. It's just I want to kind of push damage. So there were many times I just wanted to set this up, but in an actual game when you're playing and things aren't going well, this card, there's moments where I just used it and got a removal to the top, making them even more afraid to attack. So this card definitely has valid and good plays, and I think it definitely belongs in the deck. I just don't know at this current time what to put in for win rate. So, but yeah, that's what I used. I got 19th out of I think 470 something. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you want to watch any of the games, just let me know. I have matchups against D Brigade, or if you guys have any questions about matchups that I specifically can help you with, please just let me know. I'll try to reply in the comments. But yeah, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Take care.